Welcome back to Community Tapestry, and in case you're just joining us, I'm Toni Teague.
And I'm Napoleon Bell, Executive Director with the City of Columbus.
So in January, we celebrate Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. He fought for civil rights and the ability for all people to have access to success. Two very different companies seem to be on similar paths here in Central Ohio, embracing that very mission. While one is a bank and the other is a car manufacturer, they are both committed to helping each person they touch experience the drive of life. Here to talk about some of the ways that they are committed to helping all people accomplish their mission, we would like to welcome from Fifth Third Bank, Ms. Stephanie Steward-young, Senior Vice President of Community Affairs, and from Honda of America, welcome Steve Francis, Manager of Corporate Affairs Department. Welcome.
I'd like to welcome you both to the show, and ladies first. So I would definitely like to speak with Ms. Stephanie Stewart with Fifth Third. One of all because I'm banking so much, and she's worked there so long, but the thing is, when I think about Martin Luther King and civil rights and the issues around that, but one of those being able to gain wealth and be financially literate, in the education piece. Talk to us about financial literacy and what Fifth Third is doing in the community, and is financial literacy, is it still a problem nowadays?
Great question. Well, first of all, welcome everyone. Thank you for having me represent Fifth Third Bank today. Financial education is one of our key staple initiatives that we work on internally within the bank, and one of the reasons we do that is because we see it as a need in the community. We hear it as a need in the community, and when you talk about financial education, when you talk about financial literacy, it's really about people being educated and understanding their financial situation. And financial education is simply providing tools and resources to individuals so that they can help grow their wealth, so that they can really help improve their overall quality of life. Your finances touches everything that you do, and people don't even realize that it touches your health. A lot of people are stressed out because of financial issues, and so
stress will kill you.
Exactly. And so when you're financially savvy, when you understand how to manage properly your finances, how to invest, how to look for resources and other ways to grow your wealth, then you're able to not only leave a legacy for your family, but also for your community. And so that's one of the reasons that we focus on financial education, really provide a lot of resources in the community centered around financial education initiatives.
Now, hearing the phrase financial education and financial literacy can actually be a little overwhelming. I remember starting out early in my career and knowing that, I don't come from a wealth background, but it can be a little overwhelming. How do you help people not be so overwhelmed by that particular term and help them realize that financial literacy is for anyone, regardless of how little or how much you make?
Great. Really, it's about having a conversation and not having financial information being taboo. So getting people comfortable with having a conversation, and I think the best thing that people can do is go in and talk to their banker, and it's as simple as, these are my goals. How can I reach those? And your goals don't have to be financial, they can be personal goals, but what are the things that I need to do financially to get me there? And it's just about having a relationship and really having not necessarily the ability, but feeling comfortable going in and having that conversation and having that dialogue with your banker.
So do you get a chance to, talk to people and remind them? I mean, I can't tell you how many librarians and teachers that I know, and, they tend to make small salaries, but they can retire millionaires.
Yeah.
And other people that don't tend to make a lot, but if you pack your lunch, I mean, do you talk to them about those kinds of things? If you pack your lunch instead of buying your lunch?
Yeah, so we have some staple, what we call our flagship financial education offerings, and we do financial education targeted to youth as well as adults, and within many of those trainings we actually talk about some basic, very basic financial education topics, such as what are some things that you can do to help find ways to save money. So what are some of those things you can do? Maybe you don't go to the fast food restaurants as often throughout the course of the week. Maybe you don't stop at the restaurant to get the coffee in the morning. Maybe you make it at home. So some of those types of skill sets and life lessons are incorporated into our financial education.
Yeah, we're not trying to take any business away from any restaurants at all. We're just simply trying to make it so that people can afford to come to them over the long term.
Exactly. And the key is, and believe me, we definitely have many restaurants that are a part of our Fifth Third family as well. And so, but the key is to really make sure that you have the ability to manage it within your finances and to know, today this is my pot of money that I'm going to use for going out to a restaurant because this is how much I have allotted, and making sure people are wise in making those decisions.
Well, they talk about drink responsibly. We're talking today about dine responsibly.
Well, now you also, you talk about the financial literacy, but you also work with the community and partner with the community on various programs. I know of one, the Neighborhood Best Practices Conference, and really empowering the community to be self-sustaining. Tell us a little bit about why Fifth Third feels though that is important to do, and any other programs that you guys are involved in community.
Yeah, so one of the ways that we partner with the community is through our philanthropic support. And so what you're speaking of, Neighborhood Best Practices Conferences, is an event that we have sponsored since its inception, actually. I think this past year was the fourth year. And we believe it's important to really empower neighborhood residents to come together, to share best practices, to learn from each other, to really improve their overall community and really the quality of life in their community. And so when we were first approached by United Way, I think at the time was a heavy partner, and I think they still are. We said, you know what, yes, we want to step up to the plate. We're in these communities. We're in the Central City, inner city communities, and we feel like it's our part and our responsibility to make sure that we're investing back in those communities as well.
Wow, thank you so much from that banking perspective. And again, we've got two very different companies right here at our table, and here we are in conversation about some of the similar things that you're doing to help people.
Exactly. So let's switch gears. We've gone from the banks, now let's go to the car manufacturer. Here with Honda of America. And Steve Francis, whose title just keeps changing, he keeps getting more and more, responsibility. But that's a good thing.
Because he can handle it.
Because he can handle it, and that's a great thing. But I know you from the diversity end, and what you're doing at Honda. So tell us a little bit about, from a diversity perspective, what's going on there in Honda, because this is really representative of our city. Since we have such a diverse city here in Columbus, tell us a little bit about what's going on there at Honda.
Sure, Napoleon and Toni, thanks again for having us on the show. April 1st of 2013 was a huge reorganization for Honda, and it's bringing a lot of focus to the Ohio region for Honda's operations, and the Honda of America Manufacturing Company is a big part of that, with product innovation and product development and technologically, just going through the roof on new technological innovations that will hopefully make us more competitive. And one of those changes for me was heading up the corporate affairs functions for the company, which includes diversity, but it also includes government relations, media relations, internal communications for the company, and our foundation board. So several things that are vitally important to the health and goodwill of our company out in the community and otherwise. And diversity is a very important thing at Honda. It's baked into our philosophy as a company, and we approach it from several different management points. Employment, and we have an exciting new initiative that is a minority-focused mentorship program that exposes mentees and mentors to all segments of our business, whether it's research and development, manufacturing, sales, and distribution over an extended period of time. And we make sure that each year we grow that stable of mentees and mentors such that, and it doesn't guarantee a promotion or a position as much as exposes them to a high potential level of opportunities. And so we match that with what we call the diversity axiom, which is similar to the Rooney Rule. Art Rooney of the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the NFL, every head coach opening and front office opening has to consider a minority candidate for that opening. And so we implement that same practice at Honda for any management or supervisory level opportunity. We're not telling them you must hire, but you must consider. And that changes mindset. That exposes our hiring managers to people that they may not have considered before that have awesome talent. And our president is giving New Year's speeches right now during this week. And the main theme for this term of planning in our cycle is the midterm of innovation. How do you get innovation? You don't get innovation by hiring the same people to do the same thing, to think the same way about problems. You get a diversity of thought and perspective. And so he stresses that in his speech, that it's going to take all of our associates to bring their collective perspectives and ideas and innovation to really create the types of products that anticipate and exceed the expectations of our customers. So.
Well, this is really awesome for helping anyone experience the drive when they've got goals and they realize that there's something and someone to connect to, be it Honda, Fifth Third. Wow, you're just so all over the place, and all over the place and into each community. Thank you.
Well, and speaking of into the community, Honda also does that. I mean, you guys I know have sponsored the House Civil Rights Commission's Hall of Fame every year. And also has been part of our Civil Rights Tour, the Historic Heritage Tour. So in support of the mission and vision of Dr. Martin Luther, or Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. As I asked with Stephanie, why is Honda in that? Why do they feel that is important?
Well, we're happy to be supportive of the Civil Rights Tour. It's so important to expose these young people to the different condition of our America back in those times of segregation and racism. But we also are a founding sponsor of the Ohio Civil Rights Hall of Fame. And we're very proud of that, recognizing civil rights heroes that many young people don't know about. And again, we make it a habit to invite as many young people from the local school systems as we can to learn about their history and the trails that have been blazed so that they can sit in that seat that they're sitting right now in that school. And we also try to make it a point to, the community extends to the business community as well. And Honda is a part of what we call the $1 Billion Roundtable with a B. And we've been in that $1 Billion Roundtable for several years, and that means we're one of the few companies, maybe 18 or so around the country, that continually invest over $1 billion in goods and services through minority and women-owned businesses. And so when we want to consider the whole community tapestry, we want that tapestry to also be a part of the provision of our goods and services that we need to support our company operations. And so that's a very important part of our community outreach, making sure that we are devoted to our supplier diversity community.
I was going to say, and one of the key things is around in addition to vendor diversity and supplier diversity, is also just building it into your overall internal culture internally within your organization as well. And so many companies have what they call respect and inclusion committees or diversity councils. And so I know at Fifth Third, and I'm sure Honda probably has similar types of councils as well. We have a diversity council, diversity inclusion council that really is made up of our employee base, and that employee base is really charged twofold with making it a engaging environment for employees of diverse populations, and also to use our employees internally to further engage with the broader community within certain diversity segments within the community. And so we not only have those employee groups, we provide them with resources so that they can do that type of work internally and in the community. And when I say provide them with resources, we provide them with dollars so that they can produce sponsorships with nonprofit community-based organizations that align with their different diversity segment. And so specifically within our Diversity and Inclusion Council, we have 4 main areas that we focus on, one being the African American Resource Group. We have a women's resource group. We also have a multicultural resource group. And then lastly, we have a GLBT resource group. And while those are our main 4 focus areas, we have a couple of other segments that we do focus on as well. People with disabilities, we try to support and focus on doing some efforts centered around that. We also have a strong focus around veterans initiatives as well. But the 4 kind of main ones are the ones that I previously spoke to. And we provide dollars for the resource groups to really identify community-based organizations that align with their specific diversity segment and provide, Fifth Third's connection to the work that nonprofit is doing in the community that aligns with their resource group's focus.
Do you have any success stories that you can share with us?
We've got one that's actually coming up. We, in partnership with our African American Resource Group, we are a sponsor of the African American Leadership Academy, and it is a academy that was actually, I think, the brainchild of Donna James, and we're the main sponsor, and we're actually holding, and this was Donna's concept as well as we met, but she said, you guys have financial expertise. How can we take the African American Leadership Academy and really provide those types of resources to that group? And so we're rolling out, really almost as a kickoff to Black History Month at the end of January, a financial education series targeted to all of their African American Leadership Academy alums, as well as the people who are currently in their class. And in the kickoff session, it's going to be a panel moderated by our president, Jordan Miller, and the people that are on the panel are Donna James, Janet Jackson, and a couple other of our high net worth clients that are actually going to be sharing their wisdom and their expertise around finances to that group. I believe they have right now about 120 fellows that have come through the African American Leadership Academy over the last 10 years. This year is their 10th year anniversary of that program, and so we're kicking off kind of this new financial wellness, financial education program, and it's going to be exciting. So that's just the kickoff program, and then we've got a series of financial education sessions that'll take place throughout the course of the year with that segment of the population. So that's just one example.
Right. And of course, good financial literacy makes it so that people can purchase more Honda products like their boats and snow blowers and cars. And I think people just think of your company as cars, but there's more than meets the eye.
Yeah, we like to refer to ourselves as a mobility company. Our founder, Sashiro Honda, took war surplus engines and strapped them to bicycles, and that's how the company really got started back in Japan. But we specialize in the state-of-the-art engines, and then we build state-of-the-art products around those engines, like boats, outboard motors, the Accord hybrid, which actually we're going to be producing here in Ohio, that we're touting as getting 50 miles per gallon.
I need one.
And,
I hope it's a big enough car for you.
I don't care.
And the Acura NSX, which is the supercar that's going to be built right here in Ohio as well, through state-of-the-art craftsmanship, mixing man and machine in a way that's innovative and never done before. So it's very exciting. And, a success story, Honda's been a part of a group called the Central Ohio Diversity Consortium. And I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's a conglomeration of diversity professionals of major companies, academic institutions, nonprofits. And Shane Downton is the president. I'm on the board. And we are a best practices sort of resource for diversity and inclusion. And I'm very proud that Honda is one of the founding members of that organization to not only help Honda's diversity and inclusion management and advancement, but to help all of those who are struggling maybe and trying to find the right path to go down to get them to where they need to go. And, a couple other quick goals. We became presenting sponsor of Festival Latino a couple years ago, and that's been a very successful venture for us. As you know, the Latino and Hispanic community is a very important part of the tapestry of this community. Right. And we're also stepping up our game for Dr. Liu and the Asian Festival Committee, and we're also a sustaining partner of the Juneteenth Festival. Brother Mustafa Shabazz and I have made sure that we can sustain that because if you have the African American culture, the Asian culture, and the Latino and Hispanic culture, you have very important parts of the fabric that makes this community very special. So Honda's proud to be presenting sponsor level of those festivals.
Yeah, and we're proud to have you be part of be part of all of those festivals as well. I think I'm stuttering because I'm thinking about the food. We're taping, it's around lunchtime, and I'm going, don't say festival, I'm hungry.
And the food is great, but also, you talk about the diversity of Central Ohio. There's over 100 spoken languages here in the city. So you think about, when you talk about to partner, we got a whole lot more groups to go here. So you're going to be getting a lot more calls to several groups, both.
And think of food and resources too at the different festivals, specifically the Latino Festival Latino. Last year, we've supported it for the last few years as well, but last year specifically, we had our Fifth Third Financial Empowerment Mobile, which is basically a CODA bus, the size of a CODA bus, but wrapped in Fifth Third garb, outfitted on it with computer terminals, where we have HUD certified counselors as well as Fifth Third financial experts on board. So it's our financial center managers, our mortgage representatives on board to provide free credit reports, free one-on-one counseling. And so we did that at Latino Festival last year for the first time as well. And so it was a huge success, constant traffic. And so it's about using those festivals and all those venues to also provide resources to really help an individual improve their overall quality of life.
Stephen, that's so important. I'm a member of the Honda Foundation Board, and I see firsthand the exponential increase in need, yet the flat, if not reduced, level of resources to try to address all those needs. And if we could send a message to our state, local, and federal elected officials that the corporate community, the philanthropy community in the corporate area can't do this by itself. We do our part. We try to be as creative as we can. But we see the need, and it's a dire need, and it disproportionately, unfortunately, impacts those diverse parts of our community. So if I could send the message now, that's what I would send.
Well, you're so right on the point there, because you're talking about partnerships also here. And we often say this, I know, in our office in regards to how do we get things done, and it's got to be through partnerships, but also we cannot lose sight of our customer, who we're trying to serve, and so that's the community out there, because we want to lift them all up, also to make it through tough times, but also so that they, have that long-term solution rather than putting a Band-Aid on something. So, what you're doing is just, making sure that the long-term solution rather than just the Band-Aid. So that's some great work that's going on out there. And so, in the diversity world, because that's a lot of the work that we do is part of which working with our New Americans initiative. But what do you see? What's well, I take it back. Let me back up, because you talked about the mobile bus, and I want to go to that.
Okay.
How does somebody get to that? How do we get that out to the community, because it goes to the community?
Yes, it does. And it's called our Fifth Third Financial Empowerment Mobile. We've actually got 2 buses within the Fifth Third footprint that rotate throughout different communities. So it may be in Florida, it may be in Michigan. Well, we get it in Columbus as well. And so we'll have it at the end of January and the early part of February in partnership with the Tax Time. They changed the name. It used to be Franklin County EITC Coalition, but it's now called Tax Time. Yes.
It just keeps the name out in front of people, it's all.
So we will be partnering with Tax Time, which is led by United Way, and we're a sponsor of it, with many other agencies as well. But we will have the bus there to provide the same free credit reports, one-on-one financial counseling, foreclosure prevention counseling, counseling, as well as free tax prep. And so that kicks off at the end of January. You can get information on United Way's website pertaining to the kickoff dates. You can schedule appointments at many of the VITA sites through I think it's 211 is the line, if I'm not mistaken. But in addition to the kickoffs with the VITA, we're also going to have it at Impact Community Action Agency for a couple of days. Okay. And so we'll be in the community, like I said, latter part of January, early February, and then we'll have the bus again in the summertime. And we'll be hitting many communities, community-based organizations will be at St. Stephen's Community House, et cetera. So the schedule's still in the process for the summer tour, but we will be back around in the summer, and we usually get information out to the broader community.
That's awesome. I'm appreciating going back and forth between the two of you, because I'm realizing that, you know, though you're with very different companies, a bank and an automobile company, or I'm sorry, transportation. Mobility. So when I think about that, you both, though, end up at many of the same events. Mm-hmm. You end up partnering with many of the same types of community outreach. And so tell me about why you end up in the same places.
Well, I think one of the reasons is the issue I touched on before. We see the need from our perch, and the need transcends. Obviously they need sound financial literacy and capability to buy products that we produce. We philosophically want to make sure that we uplift the communities in which we do business, because we understand that to be a good corporate citizen, we want to be a company that society wants to be there. And so they have to see you and feel you and hear you on a regular basis, not just, it's funny, when I'm a deacon at my church, and we get a lot of politicians coming through the church around election time, and, nothing's wrong with that, but we need it sustained, and we need a sincere and genuine presence in the community, because that builds trust. When the community trusts you, then that transcends into purchasing your goods and products that you buy, and becoming your partner in all aspects of your business.
Well, they couldn't have a better advocate and a person in your position. You are everywhere, and you are sincere. you come early, you stay late, you do what you say you're going to do, and it's just phenomenal. So I think we'd like to thank Honda for having you in that position, because you are such a good steward. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
And likewise to Fifth Third, because of, we always do see each one of you in the community, and you talk about being there in the good times and being there in the bad times, and that is what makes the difference. So with that, we have run out of time. So if they want to get a hold of the bus and this, that, and the other, or get some information, what number do they go to? Right, they want to get on the bus. The Fifth Third, what number do they call on the website?
Sure. They can call. I'll give my personal number, 614-744-5315. And if you call that number, we will direct you to someone on my team that can actually get you connected to those opportunities. And then 53.com.
All right. And Steve, with community engagement and things that are going on with Honda?
Well, we have a website, ohio.honda.com. And go to the community page, and whether you're the nonprofit moniker is the way to enter that gateway to access some of our resources. So.
Okay.
Thank you both.
Thank you both. We appreciate your time here, and we'll get out there. Go Honda, go Fifth Third, right?
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we'd like to thank our viewing audience for being here. We'd like to thank Miss Toni Teague, co-host.
Nice to be here.
All right, most definitely. And we'll see you next month. Have a great week and take care.